connections to communities. It is a highly collaborative process, but it also requires a fair amount of expertise. And one of the things that you're going to see again and again today is how important it is to be able to harness creativity and critical thinking, but really look at real problems and really develop the technical skills to be able to solve those problems. We are all here together to make the world a better place, to make communities more resilient, to make them more socially just, to really transform the world as we live in it, and make sure that we are at the same time addressing the pressing issues that society faces. We have 5 bachelor's degrees, 2 master's degrees, and 8 minors. All of the bachelor's degrees in the college's programs are professionally accredited. This is really, really important and is something that you should be aware of. Professional accreditation is a process by which external evaluators, including leaders in a program's discipline, come periodically to a school and evaluate the school and make recommendations for improvement. It's a way to guarantee that the graduates of an accredited program are prepared for the professions that they're interested in entering. And we are very proud to have long-standing accreditations of all of our bachelor's programs, and that this is, it's almost like a quality assurance guarantee. Mentioning our programs and maybe trying to understand how they work as a set, we offer programs in city and regional planning that look very broadly at what communities need and assist communities in preparing for those needs. Landscape architecture, it's a design field that really intermingles how human beings occupy the landscape along with all of the natural species of the world, very ecologically driven. We have architecture that really focuses on the design of the environments that we use in our lives. And then we have architectural engineering. Those are kind of 2 sides of the coin. Those 2 disciplines work very closely together to make sure that the buildings have performance integrity. And then finally, construction management is really a leadership development program that helps all of the visions developed by all the other disciplines become realized, that they are the group that manages that process. And we have minors in all of these fields, and it's not unusual for students in one of our majors to minor in another. So there's some nice cross-fertilization of how you can study the subject. We have some interdisciplinary minors as well, one in heavy civil construction that merges engineering with construction, one in real property development that really introduces concepts of real estate that interfaces with planning, design, and business. And then a sustainable environments minor that really looks at how we view environments through the lens of sustainability. These are available to our students and are also quite popular. I would like to introduce the rest of the people on the stage, our team, and to have the lead of each of our academic programs come and talk to you a little bit about them. So with that, I'd like to introduce my colleague Amir Hajrasuliha. He is the head of the City and Regional Planning Program.
Hello everyone, welcome to Cal Poly. Thank you for considering our school, for continuing our academic program. One of the best things about Cal Poly is talented students, so it's always exciting to see new generation coming, and we can't wait to welcome you and join you to our community. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our program and also city and regional planning. If you are fascinated about the beautiful cities that you have ever visited, if you want to solve big problems like housing, climate change, make everything socially just, then city and regional planning is a discipline for you. We try to tackle big problems in our field. We are a future-forward thinking profession that try to look at multiple aspects of urban life and find a solution that can address all of those issues. That requires knowledge in multiple other disciplines. Planning is rooted in law, in architecture, in landscape architecture, in civil engineering, in public policy. So you're going to learn a little bit of everything. It's a very interesting profession in the sense that you will get that broad thinking of thinking of all these broad, big problems and envision a future for your communities and cities that can address all of those issues. So even if you're not a planner, if your profession is in built environment, there's a good chance that you will have to work with planners. So I highly recommend to all of you, even if you're in architecture or landscape architecture, take a course in planning, familiarize yourself with this discipline. We offer a course called Introduction to Urban Planning. That course will give you a brief overview of the field, and we are one of those disciplines that we get a lot of change of majors to our disciplines. Many of students, after taking that course, they realize city and regional planning is a great profession to continue, and they decide to change their major. If you want to continue your profession, consider a minor in planning. We also offer a minor in city and regional planning. It's always a good addition to your skill sets if you know how to work with the planning side of your profession. We offer a bachelor in city and regional planning, which is accredited program. There are only 15 programs that has been certified by planning accreditation board in the whole US in the undergraduate level, and we are one of those. So you all know that Cal Poly motto is about learn by doing. We truly do that in a bachelor program. We are a unique planning program in the country to have studio-focused program, meaning that we deal with real projects in our bachelor program. We have studios in urban design and community planning that really prepare you for profession. If you are in architecture or landscape architecture and you want to get a master in city and regional planning, you can take some of the city and regional planning courses during your bachelor program and then get a master in city and regional planning in just 1 year. So this accelerated program is also known as 5+1, is something for those of you who may want to consider planning in your master. Our master program is also accredited program, and we are typically accepting 15 to 16 students every year. It's a small program, but it's very hands-on. Again, highly based on studios that deal with real clients, real projects, making sure that our students are ready day one. On that note, I want to introduce my colleague, Professor Bev.
Collegial bunch. Welcome, as Christine said, congratulations. It is not easy to get into Cal Poly. I have less hair. I figured out when I got this job that I didn't have time for hair, so my hair's shorter. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about our program. We are accredited, as Christine mentioned. It's a very broad profession, and I mean broad in a number of ways. We do a lot of different things at a lot of different scales, from maybe a little courtyard garden design, up to designing entire cities, neighborhoods, regions, doing regional analysis. So it's kind of hard to explain to people what we do. My Cliff Notes version of what we do is always, Well, architects design the buildings. We design everything outside of the buildings. So that's kind of my easier way to say what we do. But I encourage you to, if you want to learn more about our profession, to go on our professional website, American Society of Landscape Architects, asla.org, to learn more about it. We are systems thinkers. We think in terms of systems. We, as Christine mentioned, are the sciences that kind of form the scaffolding of our profession, our biology, botany, ecology. So we really are the profession where we're thinking about how you can make human beings and natural systems interact, commingle, live in harmony with each other. So we do emphasize an understanding of systems. So I like to do a little question each year to see if, to kind of demonstrate this. How many of you have ever thought, and this is a really relevant question if you've lived in California over the winter, how many of you have ever thought about what happens to a drop of water when it hits your driveway? Okay, good. Well, landscape architects think about stuff like that all the time. Water is a big issue, of course, in California in the West. How we treat water, whether we treat it as a waste material that we just want to send away or as a resource, which we should be doing, obviously, because nothing can live on this planet without water. That's just one example of how we think of these things in an entire system. And if you want to learn more, ask me, we'll talk about it later. We do like to get, obviously we're in a polytechnic university, so we really do like to get students into real projects, real situations with real clients, learning how to interact with clients, doing projects that are really out there in the world, while also addressing all of these contemporary issues. And then we do prepare our students to be leaders in the built environment, so that landscape architects tend to be very much generalists. We know a lot about a lot of different things, so we tend to be very much good at organizing and orchestrating different built environment projects. So again, welcome. We do have a minor, and as Amir mentioned, we have some expedited pathways to two masters on the campus, and that would be masters in city and regional planning. And some of our students have gone on to get an MBA. So those two options are a 5+1. We are a five-year degree. Our students do spend their entire senior year in what we call their capstone project, examining some issue, and they do a deep dive into some issue that they're very passionate about. So our students come out with that experience and that kind of work that you don't get in a four-year degree. And so for that reason, we've often, for the last few years, been one of the highest ranked programs in the nation. In terms of, when you ask professionals who they prefer to hire from, they often mention Cal Poly SLO. So if you're coming here, you're in the right place. I'm just going to say that. And without further ado, I will introduce Mark Cabrino, the department head for architecture.
Thank you, Beth. My name is Mark Cabrino. I'm architecture department head. I use he, him pronouns. How many here are interested in architecture? Ooh, not a good count, but actually it's a good mix. So great. So architecture is the place where we live, work, play, learn, heal, and in our public and cultural institutions, it's really where we aspire to be our best and how we come together as a community. So to do that, architects are both big idea people, but also really interested in execution and making plans and how we see those big ideas come to fruition. So our architectural education is formed around that. At the core of our architectural education is the design studio, and that design studio is where you're learning skills, learning composition, to very soon, from day one, you start working on making buildings. And in our curriculum, one of the unique things is we're really a material culture, so we're hands-on and engaged. As you're walking about our buildings today in the CAED, please take a look at the shop. There'll be lots of students there actively engaged in first-year architecture, architectural engineering, and landscape architecture students making their first project, full scale, that they're going to sleep in 2 weeks' time in our Poly Canyon. Exciting. So a couple of core aspects of our curriculum, in addition to studio, one of the things that's unique with our curriculum is we, in our second and third years, we combine the conceptual ideas with architecture, with building technology and sustainability. Let's think about in all of your future, we need to get to net zero architecture. That is going to be a key aspect of your futures, and I would say all of your futures, regardless of which discipline you're in. And so that's a really important commitment we have in terms of our curriculum early on. And what we have is an intensive first 3 years, and then it's all about learn by doing. Our fourth year is about learn by going. We actually want students off campus. We have all kinds of different projects or opportunities for them to be off campus when they return for their fifth year thesis year. I always joke with the students, they come back as these fully formed, like amazing adults. They just see the world in a totally different way, and so they're able to build their thesis around that. So that's our undergraduate curriculum in a nutshell. We also do offer a minor in architecture, which is great for students that are interested in architecture broadly conceived through our architectural history courses, seminar courses. And because our discipline is so rooted in what all of our colleagues have to offer, our minor also includes courses in other disciplines. And I would say CRP particularly is one that I think every architecture student should have a CRP LA course, as well as the Archie courses that they already have. Well, now I'm in trouble too, because they should have CM too. So we need all the things, but all right. In fact, I'll kind of close that way because there is so much to learn in architecture. Many of our students go into master's programs, and they might choose to go to a master's program in other institutions and continue in architecture, but they also might continue at Cal Poly in really thinking not just now about the buildings, but holistically across urban and social development through our Masters in City Regional Planning. Within that, there is a focus area with urban design and landscape. And then certainly many architects will say they've gone out and formed their own businesses, and the one thing they really wish they had was business experience and knowledge, and so go into an MBA. So I look forward to seeing many of you later for our architecture open house. I'm going to pass this off to Al Estes, Architectural Engineering.
Hi everyone, my name is Al Estes. I have the privilege of being the head of the Architectural Engineering Department. So my first question is the same one Mark asked. How many of you out there in TV land came here today to be architectural engineers? Okay, a few, that's good. If you came in here about architectural engineering, I'll just tell you up front that we are the most intense, comprehensive structural engineering program in the country. If you know you want to be a structural engineer, there is no place else at the undergraduate level in this nation that you should go other than here. That's a pretty big boast. This could be fake news, but it's not. And if you want me to expand on that boast and answer the rest of the bullets that are here on this slide, I invite you to come to the KTTY Gallery at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and I will tell you all about the intricacies of the programs, teach you the secret handshake, and answer all your questions. I'll answer questions until either you're out of questions or I am out of energy. I'm a high energy guy. I think I can outlast you. So come at 1 o'clock today and we'll talk much more about the architectural engineering program. But we're more than just a structural engineering program. Yes, indeed. So much more. We are structural engineers who have a bigger, broader perspective of the entire design construction process. And what gives us that? It's our location here in a college of architecture. You might think, first of all, an engineering program in a college of architecture must be engineering light. It's not. There's reasons for us being here. Design and construction is a team sport. It needs a lot of disciplines to pull this off. Nobody does it by themselves. For example, let's just take a building, for example. This one. Where is it located? How does it fit in with transportation networks? How does it fit in with the context of the rest of the community You need city and regional planners to figure out where is the best place to locate a building. And as Bev said, everything that doesn't go into the building is landscape architecture. Take a look out the windows. You see a bunch of trees, a park-like atmosphere, statues, walkways, something that gives a campus a stress-free, pleasant look, tuned to learning. That's the landscape architects. The other three disciplines get involved in the actual building itself. If you take a look at this building, take a look at the room we're in right now. If you like the flow of people in and out, if you like the flexibility of the space, if you think this is an aesthetically pleasing structure, if you like the fact there's windows there for you to look out and see the vegetation, thank the architect. The architect did all that. Where does the architectural engineer come in? Look up. I see tons of concrete hanging perilously over your head. Are you afraid? If not, thank the structural engineer. We're the ones that make sure this building's going to stand up, that it's not going to vibrate, it's not going to make the occupants uncomfortable under normal loads, and when we get to catastrophic loads like hurricanes and in this state, earthquakes, it's not going to collapse and kill people. You need both. And sometimes, and we work hand in glove with the architects to come up with a building that meets both purposes. And it's not always easy. I'm a structural engineer. I want to put a column right there. But if we did, you wouldn't be able to see, so it doesn't make sense. And so we have to come up with some other structural system that provides the space that the architectural vision mandates, and we work together to make it happen. We come up with a design, and finally, some poor slob has to build it. That would be the construction managers. They're the ones that have to get up there and put in this concrete grid system that we've designed. The owner wants it now, they want it affordable, and they want it to work. So we need to give them a design that meets that, that's constructible, and this process is only possible if we are all talking to each other at the same time, working together for the design. So it's a team sport. How do we do this in our college? Well, we take each other classes. For you Archies, you're going to go over and take 3 architecture studios side by side with architecture students taught by architecture faculty. A very artistic, opening experience. Most of you have a creative side. That's probably what drew you to architectural engineering in the first place, and you'll get to appreciate it. For you construction managers and architects, you're going to come over and take a 4 to 5 course structure sequence from us, preceded by the calculus and physics prerequisites that are needed. It's great. You're going to love it. For you city and regional planners and landscape architects, we're not going to make you take any structures class, but we certainly, with open arms, invite you to come take some of our classes. Let me give a call out for the CMs and the architects. You're going to take some structures classes. You're going to get about half a minor crammed down your throat, whether you want it or not. If you take 4 or more classes, you can have a minor in architectural engineering. So it's a minor that is really designed for the CMs and the architecture students. So I plant that seed now. Welcome. It's so great to see you all here today. I don't know whether you are early in your high school career, just trying to figure out where you want to go, or you've already been accepted, but what an exciting time in your life. It's scary, it can be stressful, but what an adventure. The places you'll go, the things that you see, I envy you. I would gladly trade places with any of you, and I won't. My time is over, so it's my pleasure now to introduce, wait a minute, Jung Woo isn't here. Jung Woo is the department head for construction management, but he was not able to make it today. The good news is they have a deep bench. So we have Joe Cleary here. Give it up, everybody, for the people that change design, construction managers.
Hello. So yes, as you can see, my face doesn't match the picture. I'm filling in for John today, and so welcome. Thanks for joining us. If you've already been accepted to Cal Poly, congratulations. It's a great accomplishment. This is going to be a short preview of what we've got in store for you for construction management. The main event, the The actual presentation will be at 1 o'clock, right, in the Construction Innovation Center, so I hope to see most of you there. How many of you are interested in construction management? Quite a few. All right, that's great. How many of you have been in a building before? Good, just want to make sure you're still paying attention. So, our program makes it all happen. You've heard from the other groups in the college, there's a lot of design, a lot of high ideas, a lot of thought, and we're the group that builds buildings, right? We make it all happen. We make all of the ideas reality. So as much as anything, we're a leadership development program. We have an integrated curriculum where you're going to take classes in many of the other disciplines. There's a lot of great things that happen in CM. Our program is an innovative and integrated curriculum. We're one of the few in the country, I think the only one, that has this integrated project-based curriculum. So instead of taking, say, estimating class or a scheduling class one time, you're going to have estimating and scheduling integrated throughout your program. Construction management combines many of the disciplines that you're going to take in other programs, such as the building technology piece. It's very important for construction managers to know all of the aspects. That's why we take so many of the RD courses. That's why we have classes with many of the other disciplines so that we learn to communicate, right? It's a very team-oriented environment. We also focus on the finance, the economics, and the accounting of the process, right? We manage the money. If you're going to build a $5 billion building or an $8 billion Apple World headquarters, right, you kind of need to know where the money's going to go. So we focus on those aspects. In addition, we've got all the management principles, right? Understanding process, understanding schedule, understanding how the dollars are spent. And in addition, each student that comes through construction management is likely going to get several professional certificates. One of those is going to be your OSHA 10-hour certification. Another is the opportunity to become a certified professional constructor. And there are many more. One thing that you should be thinking about is every student, right, that leaves the CM program has at least one professional internship. Many of our students are going to end up with 3, right? And we are, and our students are, the #1 choice of the employers that hire from Cal Poly. So if you're going to look for work for a construction company, they're looking to Cal Poly to be their first choice. We're the first round draft picks, and we're pretty proud of that, right? We've been very successful, we're highly ranked. We have a lot of competition teams, and you can hear about some of those later, but we have been, last year, 12 competitions, we got 11 trophies, which is unprecedented. I think the next best school was 4, so we're pretty proud of that. And finally, every student is going to go through Cal Poly and complete a senior project. And there are many different ways that you can go about this. I've got students right now that are working at the Humane Center, building up some dog play yards. Right? I had a group of students over spring break that put solar panels and provided power to 30 homes in the Navajo Nation. And there are many different things that can be done. And those are just a few of the things that you can do at Cal Poly CM. So, hope to see you at 1 o'clock. And thanks for joining us today. And I'm going to hand it over to James or Christine. Christine, thank you.
That starts to help give you some sense of what we're all about. Let's just zoom out a little bit and talk about some of the things that are common to all of our programs. We are a very student-centered institution at Cal Poly, and certainly within the College of Architecture and Environmental Design. We look to you to understand what your aspirations are, and we try to do our best to help you achieve them. We have a studio culture, sometimes called the laboratory, but it's very much the same thing. And I think you heard people mention that we work closely together in small classes on real problems to try to innovate, design, envision, kind of think about how we would change the world. And this is done through an instructional process where students have spaces where they spend a lot of time, and they work with faculty who are there with them for a lot of time, and they begin to develop a learning community that's highly collaborative and mutually supportive. Our faculty are often referred to as teacher scholars. And what that means is that they bring their professional interests and their research interests to the classroom, and they invite students to become their collaborators. So in addition to following the curriculum, you get to know all of these faculty, many of whom are sharing with you their excitement about the direction that their discipline is taking. And there are a lot of opportunities for students to participate in faculty-led research. Learn by doing is, of course, Cal Poly's moniker. It certainly applies to us. We are a very hands-on place. You heard a few things mentioned. Architecture is known for doing some pretty interesting full-scale design activities through Design Village and Vellum. You heard about the competitions in construction management, the idea that student teams go out and basically simulate solving a pretty tricky construction problem, and then kind of compete with other student teams from other schools. It's all very exciting. And then we have similar kinds of competitions in fields like architectural engineering. The Earthquake Engineering Research Institute competition is a competition where students look at innovative ways to frame buildings to resist earthquakes. And then we also have especially in landscape architecture and city and regional planning, something that's often referred to as service learning. We like to think of it as community partnerships, where the studios in those programs actually have a real client, a community agency, a nonprofit organization, and they are assisting those clients with planning and design. So the graduates of those programs have in their portfolio completion of real projects. And you're going to find all of these learn by doing methods crossing across all of the disciplines of the college, many of which offer some interdisciplinary opportunities. This doesn't just limit our work to San Luis Obispo or to California. We are all over the nation and all over the world. Advising is very important. You are not alone. We are all here to help you, and you'll sense that today when you go and visit with the departments how important it is to have a relationship with faculty who will advise you. The college also offers an advising service, and I'd like to introduce Mitra Nafisi, please stand, and Jessica Todd. They are the college academic advisors. You may have any kind of questions about, how to articulate past work, what would happen if you're reconsidering your major, how do you navigate through your academic programs, how can you insert a minor, they are there for you. They work closely with the Mustang Advising Center for first-year students, but after that first year, they are really the go-to team. So we are here to support your success. I wanted to also call out the amazing leadership that we receive from our students. We tend to think that faculty are driving the learning process, and they certainly are with respect to our professional curricula, but students are driving co-curricular learning in the college. And we have over 20 different types of student organizations, some of them very focused on very specific aspects of their discipline, some focused on maybe sponsoring activities for the greater good. Like one that comes to mind is a group called SESH, Structural Engineers for Structural Engineering Students for Humanity. We like to call it SESH. And basically what they do is they organize projects where they go abroad, and they've gone with faculty sitting here to places to help communities needing assistance with restoring the safety of their building stock. It's often a project that would happen sometime after a community has been impacted by an earthquake. We have many others of these. They exist in all of the disciplines, and they also exist in the space between the disciplines. Please check it out. Students who are involved in these student organizations have an education that is even more significant, a professional development opportunity that will help set the course for their future careers. I wanted to now finally introduce you to the man at the end of the row, James Mwangi, who is our Associate Dean, and he's going to talk to you about some of the things you're going to see later today.
Good morning, everybody. You are certainly most welcome, and we are so happy to see all these great faces, the young and the old and everybody else in between. So I come here as the last speaker because I want to usually I come and give a quiz. You know, I'm a professor of architectural engineering and a structural engineer. So for the students or prospective students, what are the 3 big takeaways that you got from these speakers this morning? I will spare you from answering because I don't want you to embarrass your parents and your supporters. But the 3 things that we had over and over again were what? Number 1, as a college, we are just like our poly, learn by doing institution. Number 2, as our college, we basically work on small groups, studio or lab-based instruction. Number 3, we want to make sure that before you graduate, you are ready on day 1 for your industry practice. Where does this all happen? That's what we're going to talk about today, this morning. All right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is the technology that you need to bring. Typically, we want to make sure that you succeed in our programs by bringing the right technology. You got to go to your department website and the CAED website to make sure that you are bringing the recommended computing hardware for your program. Typically, every program that we see here has a computing lab, and we basically provide computers there in those computing labs that already have installed software for those industry softwares that you're going to be using for these practices ahead in front of you here. Besides that, we do have services from the ITS. So this is centralized, so you get services with your computer when you bring in. And because of some software do not run, say you bring a PC and there's a software that needs to run on Mac or vice versa. Some of you, I know you are really computer savvy, you already know that the Mac has already stopped basically putting boot camp so that you can run PC programs on it. So we are really trying in our programs here to have those computing labs to have basically PCs in them, just in case you need a program that only runs on PC. However, at Cal Poly, just like in CAED, just like in Cal Poly, we also have what we call virtual learning or virtual labs, virtual computing labs, where regardless of the hardware that you have, you could run all those different programs in some of those machines. So either you have a Mac or you have a PC, using the virtual computing lab, you can run those softwares. But I highly recommend that you go to your department website and make sure that you meet the standards as far as the computing is concerned. Besides the technology, the next thing that we talk about is the studios. So our student, like we say, our studio-based learning here, we have facilities that are open to our students 24/7. So literally, you heard from our speakers here, you literally live in those studios. Believe me or not, by week 4, you will understand what this means. Besides that, then we also have what we call the new resource center for any other information that the faculty want you to go and research as far as building materials. For those large format printing, we have a prod center in the college, and we also have a photo and media center. Besides that, and you will see these facilities as you go and visit your department this afternoon. Some of you already go in these gallery spaces. We have what we call the KTGY and the back gallery. And also, some of you already came for the tours, the college tours. Your tours basically started in the college lobby, right? Some of you have seen that space. It's also another gallery that we use for presentations. And I'm trying to make sure that we get out of here pretty soon so you can meet these departments. So last but not least, one other thing is the shops. So the learn by doing really happens in the shops. This is where everything that you learn in class, either you're going to be building models, you're going to be building those all projects that the faculty come up and challenge you to do. This happens in these shops here. We do have a metal and wood shop. We have digital fabrication labs. We have the Simpson Strong Tie, and I think that is where, if you are in CF, that's where you're going to be meeting Joe and the crew later today. But all these facilities are open to all our students, regardless of your major. Last but not least is our testing. So again, like for example, what Al was talking about, you look up and you can see that you've got concrete beams here. How do you know the strength of those beams? How do you know that when you are designing it, you are sizing that particular beam, what is guiding you to size it so that it is not over-enforced, it is not over-designed, so it is economical? You've got to test the materials. So this is where it happens. In our testing labs, we have a shape table for those seismic design classes. We do have a hybrid lab for full-scale testing, like the picture that we are seeing here. We have a source lab, and we also have a concrete lab for the same reasons that I just mentioned. And with that, I'm going to invite Christine again, basically to wrap this up.
We're really happy you're here. I wanted to let you know that as the day goes forward, you have lots of places that you might go. Every department is providing hosting and opportunities to meet with faculty today and tomorrow. Our advisors will be in the Dean's office, as will James and I. And I know that often you might have a question that's related to your particular situation, or please come and ask us. We're there for you, and we will see you soon. Thank you to Amir, Bev, Mark, Al, Joe, James. I'm Christine, Mitra, and Jessica. All of us will be waiting to see you at the college later this afternoon. Welcome.